I'm not a bad person. Whatever I've done is not even remotely the same. There's been a lot of misrepresentation of who Terrell Owens is. I'm not that guy that you see on that football field.
He broke the NFL, too loud to control. The NFL wanted him to shut up and catch passes. Instead, Terrell Owens turned himself into a movement. 1,078 catches, 15,934 yards, 153 touchdowns across 15 seasons. Second all-time in receiving yards and third in touchdowns at retirement. 6 Pro Bowls, 5 All-Pro selections, Hall of Fame numbers, but those stats don't tell the real story. Here's what they don't put on the stat sheet. The receiver who pulled a Sharpie from his sock mid-game and signed a football. The player who stood on the Dallas Star logo not once but twice, daring someone to stop him. The teammate who cried for his quarterback on national TV while wearing sunglasses. The athlete who did sit-ups shirtless in his driveway for media circus because his coach told him to work out at home. Terrell Owens didn't just play wide receiver. He performed, he provoked, he produced at an elite level while breaking every unwritten rule about how NFL stars were supposed to behave. The league wanted a villain they could market but also control. T.O. refused. 20 years later, we're still arguing whether he was football's greatest competitor or its most destructive teammate. Maybe he was both. This is the story of how one man became too loud, too confident, and too talented for the NFL to control. How he turned touchdown celebrations into cultural events. How he played a Super Bowl on a broken leg. And how the league that sold his personality for billions ultimately punished him for having one. He broke the NFL. Too loud to control. Let's find out why. Chapter 1. The Performer is Born. Terrell Eldorado Owens was born December 7, 1973, in Alexander City, Alabama. Raised by his mother, Marilyn Owens, and grandmother Alice Black, young Terrell didn't know who his father was until around age 12. He discovered the truth in the cruelest way possible. He'd developed a crush on a girl at school, only to find out she was his sister.
And address that, I can't like the girl across the street because that was, in fact, my sister.
His father, L.C. Russell, had been living across the street the entire time. That kind of confusion does something to a kid.
I didn't have a glamorous childhood life. I was a product of my environment.
Maybe that's where it started. The need to be seen, the refusal to stay quiet, the determination to make sure no one could ignore him again. Football became his escape, but it wasn't immediate. T.O.'s grandmother forbade him from playing sports until high school because she worried he'd get hurt. When he finally got his chance at Benjamin Russell High School, Terrell played football, basketball, baseball, and ran track. He was a freak athlete who made college scouts take notice. The University of Tennessee at Chattanooga offered him a scholarship. Not Florida State or Alabama, Chattanooga, a small school most people couldn't find on a map. Playing in the Southern Conference, Owens put up solid numbers. 38 catches for 724 yards and 8 touchdowns as a sophomore, earning first-team All-Southern Conference honors. He even played basketball for the Mocs in the 1995 NCAA tournament. The kid had options, but football was his ticket out. Come draft day 1996, NFL teams saw a talented receiver from a small school and decided to wait. First round, pass. Second round, pass. It wasn't until the third round, 89th overall, that the San Francisco 49ers called his name. Terrell Owens was heading to the big leagues with something to prove. His 1996 rookie season was quiet. 35 catches, 520 yards, 4 touchdowns. Respectable, but unremarkable. He played behind Jerry Rice, learning from a legend. But when Rice tore his ACL early in 1997, Owens exploded. 60 catches, 936 yards, 8 touchdowns. He'd beaten out first-round pick J.J. Stokes and never looked back. By 1998, Terrell surpassed 1,000 yards, 67 catches, 1,097 yards, 14 touchdowns. Elite production. But December 17, 2000 against the Chicago Bears is when the world discovered what he was capable of. That Sunday, T.O. caught 20 passes for 283 yards in a 17-0 victory. 20 receptions, an NFL record that had stood for 50 years, breaking Tom Fear's mark from 1950. Suddenly, everyone knew his name. But September 24, 2000, that's when the mask came off. That's the day Terrell Owens showed the NFL he wasn't interested in playing their game the way they wanted it played. The 49ers were in Dallas at Texas Stadium. Early in the game, T.O. caught a touchdown pass, and instead of the standard spike, he sprinted to midfield, to the star, the sacred Dallas Cowboys star logo at the 50-yard line. He stood there with his arms spread wide, basking in the moment while 65,000 Cowboys fans lost their minds. The cameras ate it up. Controversy? Check. Entertainment? Absolutely. Later in the game, Owens scored again. He ran right back to that star. This time, Cowboys safety George Teague leveled him at midfield, starting a near brawl. Teague got ejected. Owens got suspended for 1 game by head coach Steve Mariucci and fined a week's salary.
I was pissed, all right? I chewed him out in the locker room in front of the team. I said, we will never win like that.
But the statement was made. Terrell Owens had announced to the league, "I'm here, I'm not apologizing, and if you don't like it, come stop me."
Okay, we're at your house. I did it the first time you did it. Okay, well, stop me from doing it again.
2 years later, on Monday Night Football against the Seattle Seahawks on October 14, 2002, T.O. took it to another level. After scoring a 37-yard touchdown from Jeff Garcia, Owens reached into his sock and pulled out a Sharpie marker, a Sharpie he'd hidden there because he knew he was going to score.
Is that a hit?
That guy was a
He signed the football and handed it to his financial advisor, Greg Eastman, who was sitting in the luxury box of Seahawks cornerback Sean Springs, the very defender Owens had just burned. The audacity, the premeditation, the confidence. "I love me some me," Owens once said, and that wasn't just a soundbite. It was a brand philosophy years before athlete as brand became the norm. It made him polarizing and unforgettable. It permanently separated him from the act like you've been there era the old guard wanted to preserve. Owens didn't celebrate to punctuate a play. He celebrated to hijack the broadcast. He understood what the NFL brass didn't want to admit. Entertainment and outrage were part of the product now. Terrell Owens was forcing the league into a new era, one touchdown celebration at a time. By 2003, Owens had put up 80 catches for 1,102 yards and 9 touchdowns, capping off his time in San Francisco. The relationship with the 49ers was deteriorating. T.O. wanted out, and after contract maneuvering and legal disputes, he got his wish. The Philadelphia Eagles acquired Owens before the 2004 season. Chapter 2. The Mythmaker. Philadelphia was desperate. 3 straight NFC Championship game losses from 2001 to 2003. Quarterback Donovan McNabb was talented, but the Eagles needed a game changer. Enter Terrell Owens. His first snap in an Eagles uniform came during a preseason game on August 20, 2004 against the Baltimore Ravens. The very first snap, 81-yard touchdown reception. The crowd went berserk. This was the missing piece, and they did. Behind McNabb and Owens, Philadelphia finished 13-3. T.O. was unstoppable. 77 catches for 1,200 yards and 14 touchdowns in 14 games. 14 touchdowns. Still an Eagles franchise record. Everything was falling into place. Then came Week 14, December 19, 2004, against Dallas. Cowboys safety Roy Williams grabbed Owens by the jersey and pulled him down in what's now known as a horse collar tackle, a move so dangerous the NFL later banned it. Fractured fibula, torn ligaments, season over. Or so everyone thought. Owens had surgery 2 days later. Typical recovery time, 12 to 16 weeks minimum. The Super Bowl was 7 weeks away. Medical experts said playing was impossible. His surgeon wouldn't clear him. Everyone said shut it down and come back next season. Terrell Owens looked at all of them and said, "Watch me." He attacked rehab like a man possessed. Hyperbaric chamber sessions, round-the-clock physical therapy, pushing through pain that would have broken most athletes. The Eagles kept winning, beating Minnesota and Atlanta to advance to Super Bowl 39 against New England. And against all odds, Terrell Owens told his team he was playing. February 6, 2005, Jacksonville, Florida, Super Bowl 39. The entire football world watched to see if T.O. could do it. His surgeon wouldn't medically clear him. Owens suited up anyway, risking permanent damage. What happened next became legend. Owens played 62 of 72 offensive snaps, targeted 14 times, 9 receptions, 122 yards, on a broken leg with 2 screws and a metal plate.
Unbelievable. Terrell Owens, as we were talking about, has really shown up big. I mean, you're talking about a guy basically playing on one leg, 5 weeks removed from having screws put in his ankle.
Against one of the greatest dynasties in NFL history. The Patriots tried single coverage, thinking Owens couldn't be at full speed. They were wrong. He caught passes over the middle, made plays after the catch. He looked like he'd never been injured. What that man did was incredible. People kept saying he wouldn't be able to cut, wouldn't be able to explode. But on Super Bowl night, he looked like the healthiest receiver on the field. The Eagles lost 24-21, falling just short. But Terrell Owens had cemented his legacy as one of the toughest competitors the game had ever seen. He'd played a Super Bowl 7 weeks removed from a devastating injury. Was it the greatest gutsy performance in NFL history? The greatest act of self-promotion? Maybe both. If it was Brett Favre, they would have called him a warrior, Owens said after the game. For me, they said I was selfish. And there it was, the fundamental question that would define Terrell Owens' career. He broke the NFL, too loud to control. Was he a warrior or a selfish diva? Did teams actually want him to change? Or did they want his production and a scapegoat when things went wrong? Was the problem his behavior or the league's discomfort with a player who didn't pretend humility? Chapter 3. The Verdict. The Super Bowl heroics should have been T.O.'s crowning moment. Instead, it became the beginning of the end. By summer 2005, Owens wanted a new contract. He'd signed a 7-year, $49 million deal in 2004, but it was heavily backloaded. After his Super Bowl performance, Owens felt disrespected. He hired Drew Rosenhaus as his agent. The Eagles refused to renegotiate. Owens threatened to hold out but showed up on time, and that's when things got weird. August 10th, 2005, Lehigh University, where the Eagles held training camp. Owens was insubordinate in meetings, talking back to coordinator Brad Childress. Head coach Andy Reid suspended Owens for 1 week and sent him home with the parting words, "Go home and keep yourself in shape." T.O. took that directive very literally. Later that day, dozens of reporters showed up at Owens' home in Moorestown, New Jersey. What they found was pure theater. Terrell Owens, shirtless, wearing a camouflage hat backward, doing sit-ups in his driveway while the cameras rolled. He mostly responded with no comment, but he made sure everyone saw him working out. "Hey, if I am going to get back on the field," Owens said with a smirk, "I got to make sure I'm in good shape, but you guys are interrupting my workout right now." It was petty, it was calculated, it was perfect. The driveway workout became instant legend, a moment that reframed Owens into a cultural event. player empowerment, media spectacle, all colliding in one absurd scene. By November, things had fractured. After a locker room altercation with team ambassador Hugh Douglas and public comments questioning whether the Eagles would be better with Brett Favre at quarterback, the Eagles suspended Owens indefinitely for conduct detrimental to the team. He never played another down for Philadelphia. The team finished 6-10. The Super Bowl window slammed shut. In 2006, Owens signed with Dallas, pairing with young quarterback Tony Romo. The production was immediate. Despite breaking his finger in Week 2 and playing through a serious tendon injury that doctors recommended season-ending surgery for, Owens led the NFL with 13 touchdown receptions. He risked permanent damage because winning mattered more. The 2007 season was even better. 81 catches, 1,355 yards, and 15 touchdowns, a Cowboys franchise record. Dallas went 13-3, won the NFC East for the first time since 1998, and earned the #1 seed in the NFC playoffs. Owens made his 6th Pro Bowl and 5th All-Pro team. This was peak Terrell Owens. But the playoffs brought heartbreak. During the bye week, Romo took a trip to Cabo with girlfriend Jessica Simpson. The media crucified him. When Dallas lost at home to the Giants 21-17 in the divisional round, with Romo throwing a game-ending interception with 9 seconds left, the criticism was relentless. After the game, Terrell Owens stepped to the podium wearing dark sunglasses. His voice wavered, his bottom lip quivered, and he delivered one of the most memorable press conferences in NFL history.
This is not about, Tony. You guys can point the finger at him. You can talk about the vacation. And if you do that, it's really unfair. It's really unfair. It's my team. It's my quarterback. And if you guys do that, man, it's unfair. We lost as a team.
The tears, the sunglasses, the raw emotion defending his quarterback while critics piled on. It was the most human moment of Terrell Owens' career, and it became a meme. "That's my quarterback" turned into a punchline, a gif, a cultural reference. But in that moment, Owens showed something the league didn't want to acknowledge. He cared, deeply, and watching his quarterback get destroyed hurt him. The Cowboys never made it back. Despite Owens recording 69 catches for 1,052 yards and 10 touchdowns in 2008, Dallas missed the playoffs. On March 4, 2009, Jerry Jones released Owens despite assurances he'd stay. The official reason? He didn't get along with coordinator Jason Garrett. He'd clashed with Jason Witten. The locker room was divided. Translation: elite production wasn't worth the tension anymore. The NFL had decided Terrell Owens was too loud to control. Owens played one season in Buffalo in 2009, becoming the 6th player in NFL history to record 1,000 career catches. He caught a 98-yard touchdown from Ryan Fitzpatrick, still a Bills franchise record. One final season in Cincinnati in 2010, 72 catches, 983 yards, 9 touchdowns, leading all Bengals receivers at age 37. The phone stopped ringing after that. The Hall of Fame came calling in 2018, and Terrell Owens did what Terrell Owens does. He refused to attend the ceremony in Canton. Instead, he held his own induction at the University of Tennessee at Chattanooga on his terms. Even in his crowning achievement, T.O. wasn't going to let the NFL tell him how to celebrate. The truth. So here's the question. Was Terrell Owens the problem, or was the league just uncomfortable with a black athlete who refused to code switch, stay humble, and perform gratitude for their benefit? The case for the prosecution. He fractured teams, embarrassed coaches, demanded the spotlight, and couldn't get out of his own way. The case for the defense: he played hurt, produced everywhere, and got punished for being openly self-confident in a league that sold personality but demanded conformity. The NFL made billions off Terrell Owens. They put his celebrations in commercials. They used his drama to drive ratings. Then they ostracized him for giving them exactly what they wanted. 1,078 catches, 15,934 yards, 153 touchdowns, third all-time in both yards and touchdowns at retirement, 6 Pro Bowls, 5 All-Pro selections, NFL 2000's All-Decade Team, Hall of Fame. By any measure, Terrell Owens is one of the greatest receivers to ever play. But he'll always be remembered as the guy who was too much, too loud, too confident, too unwilling to pretend he didn't know how great he was. Maybe that's the real legacy. Terrell Owens forced the NFL to confront its own hypocrisy. He was the first modern NFL superstar to truly understand the attention economy, to recognize that in a league selling entertainment, being entertaining was valuable, and the league resented him because he wouldn't let them control the narrative. He broke the NFL, too loud to control, and 2 decades later, we're still deciding if that was his greatest achievement or his fatal flaw. If this story got you hyped, make sure you smash that like button and subscribe to End Zone Exposed for more NFL deep dives that go beyond the highlights. Drop a comment below. Was T.O. a villain or a visionary? Hit that notification bell because we're dropping new content every week that the league doesn't want you thinking about. End Zone Exposed is where the truth always scores.